And recorded live from the LSCR studios in downtown Conroe, Texas. Lone Star Community Radio is supported by listeners like you. Donate and sponsor today. For more information on getting involved with Lone Star Community Radio, contact us at lscrstudios@gmail.com or visit us online at www.irlonestar.com.
Have a legal question? Are you a resident of Montgomery County? Call 281-645-6344 to talk to a volunteer attorney from the Woodlands Bar Association. We answer the phones on the first Monday of every month at 281-645-6344 from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. to provide general legal information and information about legal resources to Montgomery County residents.
All right, Montgomery County here on Lone Star Community Radio Mornings with Lone Star, hanging out live in the studio. Hope you guys are enjoying this Wednesday morning. It kind of feels so weird these days. And, it's going to get even weirder this weekend because we have a really cool it's the third year it's been here. We had the KimoKawaii anime, I would call it an anime expo, but there's probably like 10 different words. There's a link in the description if you really want to know more about it. But I have Chris and Kalyn in the studio who are basically the head honchos there, and they're bringing a lot of cool events to Conroe. And I always want to talk about this event because this is basically an overall celebration of anime, and you can have a chance to meet cool artists, and we're going to learn all about it because it's happening on June 1st and 2nd at the Lone Star Convention Center. So Chris, Kalyn, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the studio.
Oh, thanks for having us.
Yeah. We need to get a little louder, guys. Come on.
Yeah. So KimoKawaii means essentially cute but weird.
Okay.
There's a few different interpretations. We go with cute but also weird. And we were talking before we went on the air about you asked if this is a passion project.
Well, it's so random because it's random to me, especially when you tell people like, "Oh, we're having an anime convention out in Conroe," and I was like, "I know anime is really popular. I mean, I used to watch a lot of anime, so it's got to be now. It's like there's got to be a ton of people my age that still love it." And
they're showing their kids.
Yeah, it hit me, and this is y'all's third year.
Third year, yeah.
So clearly, people are going to it,
right?
So
2,000 in attendance our first year.
Yeah,
yeah.
And that was that 2021?
2022.
2022. See, I get a black hole in my mind when it comes to COVID because when someone says like early 2020s, I'm like, is that COVID? Like
it was right off of COVID.
Like when did COVID even happen?
Yeah,
I know it happened, but when? So that's actually pretty good, right? On the tail end of COVID.
Yeah, we're still factoring in like safety measures for COVID. Like, we still have stuff like that, but like hand sanitizer, masks, all that stuff. But yeah, people were tired of being cooped up in their house. We all were,
Oh yeah,
we all were, and looking for something to do. Like even if we had to wear a mask, we were like, I just got to get out of the house and be around people. We naturally want connection, and that's one thing that's one motivator of doing these events is connecting people.
Yeah.
In a fun way.
Well, one thing that I would say about, especially with anime, is there is a strong community with it because like me growing up. I'll give you a little backstory. So I used to love waking up at like 5 a.m., 6 a.m., watch Ronin Warriors and Tenchi Muyo and stuff like that. And that was the only time it was on because you couldn't watch anything else like it.
Yep.
And so like my mom hated it because, I'm waking up at 5 a.m. I'm trying to learn how to turn on the TV. And I'm like, I want to watch these shows and you can't go to the store to rent it. You can't do anything. And then I remember going online. I got my first job. And I got my first paycheck, and I bought the entire Tenchi series. I'm pretty sure it was bootlegged. Pretty sure.
Right.
And it came with all the movies and all the TV series, and I was just like, this is the coolest thing ever. I spent like $300 on it.
I believe it.
And it got imported and everything. And I was like, this is how you have to watch this stuff. Yeah. Now everyone today can watch Crunchyroll and subscribe to that and just watch whatever they want to watch.
Google search, you have it at your fingertips these days.
But back in the day,
you
couldn't. And like
you had to have a physical thing.
Yeah, and like in the toys. Like I remember having a conversation with my mom about the Ronin Warriors. That was my favorite cartoon, and I was like, I want the toys. And she's like, where on earth do you get these toys? Because it's not like you go to Toys R Us.
Yeah.
And so she did what moms do, and she figured it out. And
Wow, that's impressive.
so I had all the Road Warrior toys over the span of 4 years, because I
That's
guess
so
the import costs and
yeah,
everything.
she had to do her research.
Oh yeah, and then it was amazing what she learned, and then she got it down pat. She knew exactly where to go, and I think she had a dealer at one point, because
Anime dealer.
yeah, you have because that's when around that time that's when the mall stores were kind of opening
True.
up with some
The
of the
kiosks.
yeah,
and,
so
people coming from
and
other
people are
countries.
really passionate about it.
Yes.
And you got me who gets fixated on it, and it's well, I want it to happen. But what does exist besides at 5 a.m. on this random channel? So that's one thing that amazes me about, especially with anime, because there's so much of it.
Yes.
So much.
Yes.
And it doesn't stop. It does not stop.
It doesn't. It's it's very popular. It's obviously more popular in Japan, but the United States has been increasingly becoming aware of it and teaching their kids, and now it's onto the grandkids even.
Well, even in the big projects too. I saw this movie being advertised from last year with Sean Bean. It was it had something Knights of the Gods or Knights of whatever. And I saw the trailer of it, and it was one of those really terrible looking movies. It was this has got to be an anime. It's got to be. And I look it up, and it was. And
Wow.
and I was like, okay, so now they're actually making mainstream movies.
Like live action?
Live action, but it's I've never heard of this manga ever.
That's something I haven't really dipped my toe in, is looking at the live action animes like they did. What's that new one that just hit Netflix? Afro Samurai, maybe? Was it? No.
Well, that's a rapper, I thought. I'm pretty sure
Afrojack.
Afro Man is a
Afro-Man.
rapper.
Yeah. No, Afro Samurai.
Here, I'll look it up.
I don't know if it's Afro Samurai or Cowboy Bebop, maybe.
Well, Cowboy Bebop, yeah, they did a live action version of it.
Yes.
Several years ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I still haven't even seen
Me
that.
either. I didn't really care to.
So I'm curious now because you mentioned.
Oh no, it's wild to me because usually when you see stuff like that, you get a kind of feel oh, this was made for another market. Mm-hmm. But there are all the actors in it. You're where this, and the way it's made, you're this has got to be an anime.
Because live action, an anime transferred to live action would be very bizarre.
Yeah.
Very bizarre.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because even the sound design of animes are their own thing.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's why that's why I don't think they're successful live actions, because it doesn't resonate with the general audience because they have no idea.
Yeah.
If you ever sat down a random stranger and go watch Dragon Ball Z, they're gonna be this is so dramatic. Mm-hmm. What is this?
Yeah.
But if I know growing up, I didn't care.
Same. I watched it right after Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah. Well, my favorite thing about it is I remember my mom coming in. She goes, "They're doing the same thing for the past 10 minutes. They're just yelling." And I'm like, "Yeah, isn't it great? Isn't it great?" And it's well, I guess.
I got to comment on something about that. She has this thing where I watch Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Oh yeah.
It's a creator of Seinfeld.
Larry David. Yeah,
fictional portrayal of himself, and they scream a lot on that show. They get in arguments and yelling matches. So when she comes into the room, she's not paying attention to the narrative or the storyline, and they're just going at it, screaming at the top of their lungs. And she's like, "What are you watching?" And I'm like, "You have to follow.
Come on, David."
Yes, you have to follow it, the storyline, in order to understand. But it's the same with anime. If you just walk into a room and hear anime, it's not great.
Well, it all depends on what show. I mean, Dragon Ball Z is probably one of the most popular animes.
And Pokemon is also
Is that really fair? 'Cause that's a video game.
Pokemon? It's also a cartoon.
I know. Oh,
Yeah.
no, I know that. I had the CD. I know what's up. But no, I meant more of it. I'm pretty sure it was a video game first, and then they made the cartoon afterwards.
I honestly don't even know.
But that's the way I remember, because the cartoon just was cool because I could hear the Pokemon.
Right.
Because in the game, they just meh, that's all they do.
Right.
You're on
but
the
that's
Game
what
Boy.
I'm saying. Just imagine walking into the room and hearing Pokemon, cartoon. You're like, what?
What's going on? Why are we capturing animals and
Yes.
using them to fight?
Yes.
I can't believe no one's gotten mad about that yet.
I mean, We have UFC. We make humans fight.
Yeah, I know, but it's just the way in the cartoon, like every kid wants to capture them
Yeah,
all. Like
that's
it's in
true.
the song, capture them all. And
Yes.
so it's kind of funny to me.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, so I guess if people who are listening and want to know a little bit more about anime, look up, I guess, Pokemon and Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, I would
Those
say
are the bigger
anything
ones.
by, some people say Ghibli, some people say Ghibli Studios.
Oh, those are like the mature ones.
I kind of look at it like the Disney of Japan.
Yeah.
Ghibli Studios. And I think that that's a good basis. Does Ponyo come out of that?
Yeah.
Ponyo? Yeah. So I think that whole studio is a great introduction. In
Well,
anime.
yeah, I guess what people
You got
get,
My Neighbor Totoro.
yeah, like people get
Spirited
confused with
Away.
the word anime, and then it's like, well, isn't it just cartoons? I'm like, yeah. Well,
Yeah,
it's all,
they're just thinking animation.
yeah, it's all the same to me. To me, it's all the same.
Yeah.
I the way I look at it is if it's coming out of Japan, it's going to be a little off.
Yeah.
Like,
to us.
Yeah.
Yeah. To
Because
us.
there's translation problems.
Right.
So
Right.
I had that problem. I watched the Vietnamese movie the other day, and it was wild.
Yeah.
And I wasn't expecting. It's supposed to be a romantic drama, and then it's
Yeah.
like at the very last 20 minutes, like, what is happening?
I used to watch those Japanese horror movies.
Yeah.
And they're wild.
Yeah.
So the whole Japanese culture is interesting, and that's partially why we wanted to put something together
Yeah.
for Conroe, because Conroe, we hear all the time it's one of the fastest growing cities in America. Well, with part of that is diversity, and diversity is bringing different cultures to light, to where people have access to it. Like, for instance, KimoKawaii this coming weekend will have an authentic Japanese arcade room. So there'll be a room you can walk in, and there's
So there's a bunch of gambling.
Yeah, no, well, not that kind of arcade, but like
I'm just
like
kidding.
but like an arcade room like you go into in the 80s or 90s in Japan. They're all
That's
authentic.
gonna be kind of cool.
Yeah, yeah. So they're setting up how many? Like 10,
If you're
12?
epileptic, do not go in there.
10, 12, something like that.
Right.
They got the dance party. Epileptic? I
Yeah,
don't
if you're
know. I don't-
even epilepsy, do not go in there.
I don't think it's like that. There's not like flashing lights. I don't know.
I mean, have you?
I don't want to
played-
alienate epileptic
no,
people.
No, have you played the Japanese version of games?
Yeah, I know what you're talking
Like
about.
I remember Marvel vs. Capcom, and like, oh yeah, I got the Japanese version. I was like, this is really more intense than the other
Yes,
one.
there is a lot more strobe type
Oh,
things
yeah.
going on in animes too.
Oh yeah, I know.
Not just the games, but the animes themselves. Yeah.
That's
so-
so funny to me. That's
Yes.
cool. That's cool though. I mean, so let's talk about the event itself.
Yeah.
So, from what I gathered, it's kind of a celebration of anime,
Mm-hmm.
and you have the traditional convention center over there at Lone Star,
Mm-hmm.
and then people can pay tickets, and there's different levels of tickets, and then you can meet voice artists, you can meet artists themselves, and then just other people dress up, and
yeah.
it's just more of like, is it more of a hangout, or is it more of if you're into the industry? Or is it a
It's all of
combination?
the above. See, we have over 100 vendors and artists.
Yeah.
So you love art. We've got like 60 artists. It's all vendors that are, kind of focused. All their inventories focused around like Japanese culture,
Okay.
pop culture, and then we have productions. We have performances. Like we have the Japanese fashion show. This is our second year for the Japanese fashion show. It's really cool. Like seriously, anybody that's into like
Kimonos.
kimonos?
Is it
Kimonos.
Kimonos,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, that'll be there. We actually have the Houston Geisha coming as well. She's going to do a performance, but it gives you a glimpse into Japanese culture throughout history too, the fashion show. It's from traditional to like modern and tech wear. And it's really interesting. Like it's very powerful. Like you'll see women and sensitive people like tearing up at the end of it
made me
because
cry last
it is
year.
very powerful. It will touch you emotionally.
Look at that.
Just because of the performance and stuff like that. There's a lot of performance art behind it.
Well, is that on Saturday or is it both days? Because I think
That's
it's
on Saturday.
Okay.
At 6 p.m. So our hours for KimoKawaii is Saturday from 10 to 6. Now that's when the vendor room is open. That's when the panels are going on. But then after that, we close the vendor room and everybody goes to the main events room where the Japanese fashion show is. And what we're going to do is we have the Geeks of Comedy. We have like 4 or 5 comedians that are going to come do like pop culture comedy performance opening for the Japanese fashion show. The Japanese fashion show last year was around 12 to 15 models and 4 categories. And this year we have 30 models. So we've doubled in size, and I believe like 5 or 6 categories.
Now, is this something, let's talk about the average person listening right now. If they want to come check it out, they can dress up.
Absolutely. We encourage it.
And then what else can they do to be involved?
Okay.
Is it just besides show up? Is there like you said, is there a costume contest?
Yes. Good questions. So we have kids, teens, and adults cosplay contest, which comes, winner gets prizes, trophies, all kinds of stuff. So yes, there's that. There's also games. There's like game panels, like what's the game panel he's doing? Anime Wars or something like that?
There's Anime Wars and also Anime Would You Rather.
Yes. So it's community games where people can come, like, play games together, make new friends, bring their crew. You meet other crews.
Yeah.
And this is another cool part about KimoKawaii is everything that we put on, we support local businesses and people and locals in Montgomery County. So the director of our fashion show lives here in Conroe. We live here in Conroe, and the things that we bring out of Conroe are things that we don't have yet in Conroe. Like we have a boba tea bar setting up, a boba so Dragon Ball Z is coming to do the boba tea. And that's a little piece of anime culture that we have established here in Conroe.
Yeah.
And
It sounds a little weird about that stuff. You're
What?
like all the what's funny is you go to Dragon Ball, you see anime stuff, right?
Yeah.
But then when you see his private collection, it's even weirder.
Oh,
And I'm just like,
of his art.
I was like, oh, you really like this stuff.
Yeah. He's really.
And-
he started a whole restaurant based on it.
And I always give him a hard time though if you go there and if you look at his hanging sign, it's supposed to be him.
Oh, really?
But I go, is that the Mario Goku? Because it looks like Super Mario.
Goku, yeah.
Looks like Super Mario, but he's
That's
dressed-
funny.
And he's like, no, it's supposed to be me. Well, he looks Italian. Yeah, I love
That's
San.
funny. San's awesome.
So that's cool. So you got boba tea. You really are going to the culture, like over there.
Yes. So we got the cosplay contest. The first 2 years, we even did Battle of the Bands. But we realized that the Battle of the Bands was more appropriate to keep just focus on having that at Terror Fest. And then that way we could open up other things at KimoKawaii, like
Well, the fashion show for one.
Yeah, the fashion show. We got karaoke now.
Yeah.
This year will be the first time we're doing karaoke. Yeah, we got so much going on.
And I want to let folks know they can get tickets on the website. I put a link to the website.
And the
then,
full schedule's up, the full program
Okay.
schedule. So you can see a whole list of everything going on, all the workshops, all the panels. You want to learn how to cosplay and come join a huge community that lives here in Montgomery County. Here's the thing. We have really good vibes at KimoKawaii. Really good vibes. There's other shows that you can go to, but there is also sometimes a little bit of a negative stigma that follows some shows. I won't go into what those stigmas are, but it's things that you don't have to worry about at KimoKawaii. We have very positive, family-friendly, supportive of each other type vibes. And the community's growing quickly, and they're loving it. So
as long as you don't have the Magic the Gathering guys there, that's when it gets weird.
the Magic,
Those guys are mean.
I think that's
so.
more like a comic convention.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's important for people to know too. This is what it sounds like to me. This is celebrating everything in anime culture and then Japanese culture.
Right, but we live in Conroe, so we're all.
So this is like an experience.
Yeah.
So
exactly, it's like stepping into another world, and that was originally my vision for it. It's actually originally my vision for all of our events. So to kind of backpedal to what we're talking about before when you asked me, is this a passion thing?
Yeah.
So I've been a professional artist under the moniker Dirk Strangely for 20 years. And I've traveled all over the United States at different gallery shows, art festivals. I've been guests at anime conventions and comic book conventions. I have published books. I do kind of like, it's like dark horror children's books, like kind of like Brothers Grimm.
Okay.
So if you like Tim Burton, you'll like my books.
Okay.
It's family friendly horror, children's horror.
A little creepy,
So like
yeah, long tongues, I get
Nightmare
you.
Before Christmas type
Yeah.
stuff, yeah. So I've done a lot of these, so I understand the industry. And when I I say I soft retired. I haven't fully retired, but I soft retired as a full-time professional artist. And I started focusing on events. I look at these events like series of art. And I think that's what separates our shows from other shows is I don't look at it as just a business of putting an event together. I look at it as an art. And when people walk in, I think of things like this. I want you to smell things that you love. Like one of the first things I did was I got the caterers at the Lone Star have a deal with the convention center, so I couldn't bring in outside ramen people. So I sent them a recipe for ramen, and they make ramen now, and they sell out. They sell out of the ramen, and so. But my whole point was like when she was like, "We'll prepare it all." I was like, "Okay, we'll like at least have a big pot of like ramen broth boiling so people smell it." She's like, "Okay." So when people walk in, you smell ramen, and then as soon as you walk in, like you see registration, and then you see a giant fuzzy Totoro that me and my friend built. It's like 9 feet tall. It's fuzzy. It's realistic. Totoro right there. So when kids see that, they love it. So, and then like as soon as you walk in, everybody's smiling, greets you when you come in. Everybody's friendly. There's signage everywhere, so you know what's going on. There's QR codes you scan with your phone. You got like the whole program and schedule right there on your phone. It's just a very comfortable environment that hits all the senses. See, smell, touch, feel, all that stuff you're going to experience in this like Japanese anime culture just with a bunch of people that are having fun and happy. And like to have that in Conroe when it didn't exist before, I think is special. So I look at every single event that we do, and I hope that anybody that's listening to this will also realize that I look at this as an art. And when you come to anything that Silverback Events puts out, it's going to be an experience.
That's cool. And everyone can see exactly what we're talking about on the website. And then also I put the Facebook and all the social media so people can see pictures of last year and actually see what's going on. Because I encourage everyone to dress up. And if you want to see the standard.
We love when people dress up.
Yeah.
Because that means you're coming to have fun.
Yes.
And another thing that some people that have never come to a convention may worry about is, I don't want to be judged. You are not going to be judged by anybody at KimoKawaii. You know, you're going to have tons of other, everybody, you're the weirdo if you're not dressed up at KimoKawaii. Who is this normie walking around in a polo shirt, right?
Thanks for giving me a shout out.
Yeah. The only reason I said polo is if you were wearing a Western shirt, I would have said a Western shirt.
I get you. Well, I want to say, Chris and Kalyn, thank you so much for coming in. June 1st, June 2nd, you can get tickets for all weekend, but you can also get day tickets too.
Yep.
And then the full lineup of what's going on is you can visit their website. It's KimoKawaii.net. That's KIMOKAWAII.net. I put a link below for all that good stuff. And it's going to be a great weekend to kick off the summer. And yeah, so anything else you guys, would we forget anything else? Because I know you got famous artists and famous voiceover people, and then you have just art. You have people. You have conventions to bring cash, their food, and all, and pretty much just have some fun. So,
yeah, it's a great action-packed weekend of just fun. One last thing I would like to throw in is if you're listening to this, follow us on Instagram. It's KimoKawaii _con. And also follow Lone Star Community Radio if you're into anything that Silverback Events does, because we're going to be working together on just some of the content that we're having at our events. So if you're interested in this, follow Lone Star Community Radio as well, so we can remind you every once in a while we're here.
Yeah, because after this event, you got Horror Fest.
Terror Fest.
Terror Fest, sorry. Why? Well, horror.
Well, it's a horror fest.
Yeah. Which is really cool, by the way.
Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah, and this year it's sideshow themed.
Oh, that's kind of scary.
No, it's going to be good.
Okay.
It's going to be really good.
Well, maybe I will not talk about that. I'll get someone else to talk about that. That's right, guys. KimoKawaii is coming up June 1st and 2nd here in Conroe at the Lone Star Convention Center. Get your tickets today. I want to say special thanks to them showing up. And we might actually have a special person tomorrow who does voice work for a certain cartoon. We'll be posting about that once we get that confirmed. Guys, enjoy the rest of your day. We got more shows coming up your way. Thanks for listening to irlonestar.com, Lone Star Community Radio. We will see you guys later.
Listen in Monday.